This is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. I'm traveling today, and where I'm in the world, in the US anyways, is Salt Lake City, Utah. And I came to Utah for many reasons, one of which is to visit this place behind me. It's a Mountain Valley Seed Co. or mvseeds.com. That's with an S, mvseeds.com. And the reason why I came to Mountain Valley Seed today is to show you guys a really good source for flowers, vegetable, herbs, organic and non-GMO and heirloom seeds that you guys can get for a really good price. And if you stay tuned to the end, we'll be giving you guys a special discount so you guys can get even lower prices on the products from Mountain Valley Seeds. So basically, Mountain Valley Seed, they sell the majority of the products and seeds they sell online, so you can visit their website to learn more about them. They also do have a walk-in store that's actually not super impressive in my opinion, but you can, look up some of the things that you see online and, bring down and let them know what items you want, and they could come get them out of the back for you, or you could just browse around their store, which they have only a fraction of the items they sell. So they are open from Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and they're closed on the weekends, but their websites operate 365 days a year, 7 days a week. So anyways, we're going to check out Mountain Valley and show you guys why I really came here today. So once you walk into Mountain Valley Seeds, what you're going to see is just like a little warehouse. It's actually cordoned off with shipping containers, which I think is kind of cool to use to separate out the area and keep the little display or walk-in showroom area separate from the warehouse. They have offices in the containers, and also they have a little grow room area with grow lights where they may do some trials with growing some of the different seeds they offer here. Mainly the little showroom here is, in my opinion, underwhelming. They have a seed display and some of the seeds they offer and some books and actually food storage and bulk grains area and actually a clearance area, which is kind of cool. Some things are marked down for really good prices, maybe like a year or two old seeds that will still germinate for literally pennies on the dollar. So you could come here right now. They have like wheatgrass seeds for like a quarter. Amazing. And yeah, they got the different trays and different supplies you can use to grow sprouts and microgreens, which are what I'll be talking about. They also have little other kind of planters and other accessories you guys can buy. But mostly I would recommend you guys visit their website, because then you could really see all the different varieties of the seeds and different products that they offer, because that's a fuller catalog and description of what they have than actually just coming here, because they have, once again, a small fraction. Anyways, I could show you some of the cool books and some of the cool seeds and things, but I really want to focus on, since it is now the new year, so happy new year, I want to share with you guys a way you guys could still be gardening and growing food even in December, January, even through the winter months when it's cold and snowing outside in some parts of the country. And even if you don't even want to get outside in the winter, like I don't like to go outside in my garden too much. I like to check it out and see, but I like to have everything pretty much in the ground growing and planted. But I know a lot of you guys can't do that. So to keep your growing on, to keep growing on in the winter, I do recommend sprouts and microgreens, and that's what brought me here today. MV Seeds also has another company or website, wheatgrass kits and microgreen kits websites, where they sell wheatgrass and microgreen growing kits. And it's the sprouts and the microgreens is what I really want to educate you guys on, and that's why I came here today, because they have some of the best and lowest prices on the sprouts and microgreens kits and the seeds. So let's actually go over to the area where they have actually some of the different options to grow the sprouts, and then we're going to get into the microgreens after that. So now I'm in the area of the showroom where they actually have all the different sprouting kits available, and we're going to go over those real quick. But I want to let you guys know that you don't even need a sprouting kit or any kind of device to do sprouting. Sprouting is really simple. You could have something as simple as just a mason jar. Now they sell the mason jar here with the special lid and some seeds where you could buy, but I know most of you guys already have the mason jar, so you guys could just get the lid separately, or even you could use some cheesecloth and a rubber band to hold that on, or you could of course buy the little sprout lid. This is a plastic sprout lid. I like to use the stainless steel sprout lid myself. You could also use something like a bamboo basket to do sprouting in, maybe an old colander that the hole size is smaller than the seeds that you'll be sprouting, a sieve, or even maybe some old pantyhose. So don't just think you gotta buy one of these devices to sprout. That being said, that's what I would recommend you guys use. and you know, they have many different options. So they have things like the hemp sprout bag. So yeah, go hemp. And you know, a hemp sprout bag is definitely better than a cotton sprout bag. In my opinion, it holds up much better. I personally don't like sprout bags because sometimes they just don't dry out fully enough. You know, that may be good for certain seeds and maybe not so good for other ones. They also have these sprouting kits by Handy Pantry, complete kitchen counter sprout garden, and lets you grow the different sprouts. Also, they got the kitchen crop sprouter, and they got also the this guy, the Sprout Master. But yeah, there's so many different ways to grow sprouts. I mean, which one of these guys is the best? You know, I would probably say this guy is my favorite one, aside from the jar method, which I use for many different sprouts, but this one works a little bit better for certain sprouts. It's the Easy Sprout by Sproutamo, and I like this guy a lot. It's basically just like an oversized cup with another cup that sits inside with holes and a little lid. Makes it really easy to sprout and works really well. Now, the other thing, aside from the device to sprout, the most important thing when you're sprouting seeds are the seeds themselves. And that's the most important thing, right? And I would encourage you guys, if you're going to do sprouting, which basically you soak the seeds for a length of time. Buckwheat, for example, takes me about a half hour to soak. Some other seeds could soak for 8 hours, or even some seeds are overnight. And then you drain off all that water. You could use that water to water your garden. And then you're just basically going to rinse the seeds, you know, a couple times a day, 2-3 times a day, and then, you know, leave it, especially like if you're doing a jar method, you're going to leave the jar at an angle to drain out all the water and try to get good airflow and air circulation in there. No additional lighting is required, so you don't need any light kits, just the ambient light is fine. The seeds will start to sprout and germinate. And once they're sprouted and germinated, maybe depending on the sprout, which could be as, you know, little as 1 or 2 days, you could have sprouts and ready to eat. That's how long my buckwheat takes to grow. From the hulled buckwheat in the summer, just to get like little tails on it when it's soft enough and ready to eat, to, you know, 5 to 7 days on some other sprouts that take a little bit more time. But once you have grown the sprouts, you can eat them, and they're more nutritious than the full-size vegetables. And I know, like, it also allows you to eat foods that you wouldn't normally eat. So how often do you guys eat alfalfa? Unless you're a horse or a cow, you probably haven't had alfalfa in a long time, but you could surely sprout some alfalfa seeds and eat the delicious alfalfa sprouts. Or clover. Clover is another real popular sprout that you guys could grow. And, you know, most people I know don't eat clover, but you could eat the clover sprouts, and they're more nutritious than the big, large plants. So I always encourage you guys to, you know, get diversity in your diet and eat lots of different kinds of plants and plant foods, because they all contain a plethora of phytonutrients, phytochemicals, vitamins, and minerals that are healthy for you. Now, the other thing I want to cover real quick is this thing known as E. coli contamination. You know, there's been these news media reports of outbreaks that people that ate sprouts got sick and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, what's up with that? Why am I promoting it if you could get sick from sprouts? Well, you know, E. coli is not something that is not a plant disease, let's put it that way. It's an animal disease. So if it's an animal, you know, a cow, a chicken, a pig, you know, a bird, they could all have E. coli, and they can and may contaminate things. Actually, like if you're buying chicken from the store, you know, there is bacterial contamination on that chicken, and that's why they want you to cook your meat before you eat it, so you kill the majority of the bacteria, although some bacteria may not be even destroyed by heating, which is kind of scary. But in any case, the seeds and plant foods doesn't have this contamination because, you know, animal diseases or animal bacteria can only grow on animals, and they can't grow on the seeds. But here's the challenge and why there has been E. coli outbreaks on sprouts. It's because there's bacterial contamination from the animals that contaminate the seed. So it's nothing inherently on the seed that is problematic, but it's when the seed is, you know, on the plant and, you know, the bird poops on it, or there's, you know, manure growing in proximity to the seeds that, you know, get contaminated onto the seeds, and then they have a problem. So it's very important, if you guys are buying sprouting seeds, I only recommend you guys buy sprouting seeds that have been tested from a good source. Don't just buy your sprouting seeds from the bulk bins at your grocery store or your health food store. They may not be proper sprouting seeds that have been tested for bacterial contamination. So here at Mountain Valley Seeds, they test every batch of the sprouting seeds that they sell to ensure you guys are going to get, bacterial-free seeds. Another practice that's quite good to do when sprouting that I would recommend is using hydrogen peroxide, basically to sterilize the seeds to kill any bacteria that may be there that's not going to, hinder the growth or the nutrition of the seed once it starts to grow. I guess the next thing I want to talk about, since we're here at a seed company, I want to take you maybe into the warehouse and give you guys a quick shot of and talk more about the Mountain Valley Seeds, the kind of seeds they offer here, and why you probably want to get your sprouting seeds from Mountain Valley. So now I'm here inside the Mountain Valley Seed warehouse here, and it's not really impressive. You don't really need to come back here. I got a special behind the scenes tour today from the owner, Lance, who's actually a pretty nice guy. He's a grower himself. He's been growing since he was a kid when he was growing on his grandpa's farm. So I'm glad that he, got into selling seeds, and he's really passionate about the seeds and the products he sells, and that's really cool to see. So anyways, in this, there's basically just, shelves and shelves like you see here of seeds and other products and everything all packed up, ready to go out, because, their primary business is online. And, you can visit their online website, mvseeds.com. You could also request their catalog for those of you guys that are old-fashioned that like to have something paper that you can actually leaf through. And they have lots of different seeds, and basically this MV Seeds was founded by a guy that lived here in the local area here in Salt Lake that basically needed to find and sell high altitude seeds for you guys that live in this area or other high altitude areas. Basically, for a high altitude growing, these are crops that have been grown and bred to grow in a short growing season, because the growing season is quite short here. So I'm glad to say that in the Mountain Valley Seed catalog, many of the different seeds are for high altitude growing. So for example, if it says recommended by USU, that means it's good for this local growing area, which means it's a good, high altitude seed for those of you guys that live either here in the Salt Lake City area or other high altitude areas, or even places, that have a shorter growing season. The other thing I noticed that, like, looking through this catalog, the main primary target demographic for Mountain Valley Seed Company is maybe not necessarily home gardeners like we are, but they're for market gardeners, people that are growing things to sell at the farmer's market, to sell on the street corner or whatever. So they actually sell seeds in bulk. So this could also save you guys that are gardeners a little bit of cash, right? So instead of just buying a pack of seeds, which may have not too many seeds, you could buy an ounce, 4 ounces, a pound, or even 5 pounds of some seeds, and you're gonna save some money. So compared to other seed companies I've seen, like Johnny's, for example, Mountain Valley Seeds is actually less money. So actually you're gonna save more money. And also I like that they have free shipping all the time, or actually they really pay the shipping if your order is over $35. And it's not really hard to go through here and get a $35 order. So I really like that a lot. They sell organic, heirloom, and sprouting seeds, and also microgreen seeds, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But actually that brings me to the sprouting seeds today. And so, here's all the different seeds they have. And some of them, for example, these are the onion seeds, and this is the bulk pack of onion seeds. It's, I don't know, what is it, 4 ounces of onion seeds. But yeah, this is amazing price. Walla onions, some of my favorites, some of the sweet onions. But next door here, they have some sprouting seeds. So if it says radish, sprouting on it, and it says sprouting on there, this means these seeds have been bacterial tested, and these are the seeds that you will want to grow for your sprouts, and also preferably for your microgreens, so they don't have any contamination on there, because that is truly the reason why people get sick from the sprouting, from sprouting and from the sprouts that they bought at the store. And most of the sprouting incidences that I've heard of has happened because of big, large commercial growers that may not have the right procedures in place and may not be checking their seeds. Also, as you guys know, the sprouts in the stores, they've been grown, they've been put in a little plastic container, they've been sitting on a shelf. You don't know if they maybe were not under refrigeration the whole time. You don't know how long they have been grown, how long they've been sitting there. You don't know exactly what happens, and that's why I recommend you guys grow your own food and grow your own sprouts, especially the sprouting seeds. Radishes are some of my favorite things to sprout. They kind of give you a nice and hot and spicy flavor. But of course, there's many other different kinds of sprouting seeds, such as this guy. This is the amaranth sprouting seeds. So I really like that they actually have a wide variety of the sprouting seeds here at some of the lowest prices I've seen. Now, aside from just sprouting, and this is an excellent thing for you guys to do in the wintertime, you guys can't grow outside, but to eat the sprouts, but more importantly, when you're sprouting things to eat, you're also learning a valuable skill, how to germinate your seeds for the summer. So you can just sprout your tomato seeds in a similar fashion. You're sprouting your seeds that you would eat, and then take those and plug those in and plant them in dirt to get your plants going. So I always encourage all gardeners out there to do some sprouting. So the other thing that I want to share with you guys that's really important to me this trip to MV Seeds is to show you guys the microgreens. You know, in my opinion, the microgreens are even more important than the sprouts to eat and to get into your diet regularly. You know, and yeah, so let's go head over to the area where they got some microgreens kits and some other things set up, and I'll share with you guys more about the sprouts and microgreens and why they're so beneficial and healthy for you. So here at Mountain Valley Seeds, they got really some cool kits that you guys can grow your own sprouts and microgreens. Actually, on this side, they have sprouting kits and seeds and, you know, the little lids you need and whatnot. And this may be sold in some stores near you under their Handy Pantry brand, like many Whole Foods stores may sell the sprouting kits. Many health food stores may also sell the sprouting kits. One of their new kits are these guys. These are their microgreen kits right here, and you know, from Mountain Valley Seed Company. And these microgreen kits, right, to me, this is my opinion, okay? Like, these kits right here allows you to grow as many microgreens in this little cup here. That's not gonna grow a lot of microgreens, right? Microgreens, if you go to price them in the stores, they're actually quite expensive. And, you know, although microgreens are 4 to 40 times more nutritious than the full-size vegetables, right? This is not a lot of microgreens, and this is not maybe the best buy for your money. This is maybe good for like a science experiment or something to get your hands wet and growing some microgreens. But to be more sustainable and to really make a dent and put a dent in your nutritional needs, I would really encourage you guys to get a microgrowing greens kit. And that's what they have behind me, and that's what I'll be showing you guys in a second. So it's this kit that has like basically these 10-inch by 20-inch trays with a whole different plethora and variety of seeds, with all the different mats, and very simple and easy to use instructions. Allows you to grow like, you know, one tray of these a day. So basically you're gonna start one tray today and then get that growing, and then start the next tray tomorrow, and keep watering your first tray, and then the third day start a third tray, keep watering your trays from the first and second day, and in about 10 days you're gonna have one tray ready to harvest, and on the 10th day you harvest the first tray you started, then you start a new tray, and then basically you have like a conveyor belt system, so you're always harvesting one tray of microgreens a day that you need to eat, right? You could give it to friends, you could actually just eat a microgreen salad, which is one of the things I really wanna do, man. I wanna just clear cut a whole tray of microgreens and eat them as a salad. You know, they're better than buying, you know, lettuce that's been grown in California, cut, and then put on a refrigerated truck and then shipped to you guys wherever you guys live in the snow. I mean, microgreens and the sprouts are some of the best foods on the planet because they contain high levels of nutrients, right, that are stored mostly in the seeds in the case of sprouts, and in the case of microgreens, they may be pulling up some nutrients from the mat or the coconut coir growing medium that you are using. So I do encourage you guys to use something like trace minerals, like an ocean product, or kelp, liquid kelp, to feed your microgreens. But aside from the nutrients that they're providing something else that's very important that you guys are probably not getting in your standard diet, especially in the wintertime in, you know, high enough amounts. And what this is known as the life force energy. Call it prana, call it chi, call it biophotons. This is something that science has not even really qualified yet, and it's something that I really live and thrive on. And I've learned that, you know, when I eat like lettuce from the grocery store, for example, you know, I just don't feel as vibrant or as alive as if I grew that lettuce and pick it and eat it out of my garden fresh, right? And aside from the vitamins and the minerals and the phytonutrients, which are higher in my homegrown stuff, another thing is the life force energy, or the biophotons. And this is basically the energy that, if we looked at Kirlian photography, would show like the vibrancy or the energy like coming off that food. And, you know, this is a really important nutrient that I really believe keeps us healthy. And most people are eating foods that have been processed and cooked and denatured, and they don't have this life force energy in it. And so I think it's really important to be full of life is to eat things that are still alive and have that energy in there. Now, aside from that, another reason why I like the sprouts and the microgreens is because they are really rich in enzymes. Enzymes are fatty protein molecules that basically make reactions happen in the plant and also when you eat them in your body. And these are also very important nutrients, that you may not be getting in your standard, a food that you're buying even in the wintertime, especially if you're buying, trucked in vegetables from California, right? It's been cut, it's been hydro-cooled, it's been shipped on a truck. By the time it gets to you, it's like a week or two old, and guess what? Nutrition and the life force goes down over time. But if you're growing your own sprouts or microgreens, you're getting the peak life force, peak nutrition, peak everything, and that's why you should really be growing them. So what I'd like to do for you guys next is actually go through a little deluxe microgreens kit that they're offering here. Showed you guys, how easy it is to start growing some microgreens, and also, how you guys could save some additional money on the microgreens kit, by watching to the end of this video. So now I want to share with you guys more about the microgreens and Mountain Valley Seed Company here. One of the first things I want to say is that if you guys live in the area, I highly encourage you guys to come to Mountain Valley Seeds during maybe like once a month. They give classes on how to grow microgreens. So you could check with the Wasatch Community Garden here in the local area that basically puts on through them the microgreens classes here. And basically you pay whatever a class fee, and you get taught in that class step by step how to grow microgreens. Plus you get a really handy dandy microgreens growing kit, which is actually what they're showing me here, because they just had a class 2 days ago that I missed. So that's really cool. And that's a special kit that they have only for the class, right? But I want to actually get into even the higher end kit, because this kind of lets you grow like some little small trays, which are kind of good for experimenting. But I really want you guys to grow a good volume of microgreens, because as much as the microgreens are more nutritious, right, we want to eat them in quantity. We don't just want to have one little small bite of microgreens, right? That's not really going to do much to change your health outcome, in my opinion, right? We want to really substitute these fruits and vegetables, sprouts and microgreens for the junk food, the processed foods, and the other foods that you guys might be eating, right? I always want to teach and encourage you guys to eat good, better, best, right? The microgreens and the sprouts, some of the best foods on the planet. Of course, other foods, fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. And of course, the ones that you grow yourself, in my opinion, are always better than the ones that you're going to buy at the store. They're also going to be a lot less expensive. So with that, let's get into some microgreens. Really quick, I like that there's really good information on microgreens, especially even in their MV Mountain Valley Seed catalog right here. And in the back here, they have a chart. And they have a chart here, which is in there, but I'll also read it off because they have it on here. So what could be grown as a microgreen? And they have a little list here, ones that are good for beginners, intermediate, and advanced growers. So if you guys are starting out, I would encourage you guys to grow some of the beginning ones, because these are the ones that are easier to grow. Some of the beginning microgreens can be grown in as short as 5 days. They can be ready to harvest and eat. These are things like broccoli, broccoli rabe, cabbage, cauliflower, clover, collards, cress, kale, kohlrabi, lettuce, mustard, purslane, radish, sunflower, turnip, and wheat. Of course, there's also intermediate ones and also advanced ones. And there's so many different flavors in microgreens. And I mean, especially if you guys are chefs, you guys should definitely be growing some microgreens, because they add new, unique, and different flavors into your chef creations, whatever they may be. And I always want to encourage you guys to use the microgreens fresh, right? If you cook them, you're going to lose that life force, you're going to lose the enzymes, and you're going to lose some of the the flavor depth of the microgreens, right? So if you do cook stuff, cook it up, and then let it cool down a little bit, then put the microgreens fresh on top, or better yet, just make a salad out of your microgreens. They also have a little chart here that shows approximate harvest time. So for example, broccoli 7 to 10 days, cabbage 7 to 14 days, fenugreek, that's actually a really good one, 5 to 10 days, kale 7 to 15 days, lettuce 7 to 10 days, mustard 7 to 14 days. You could even do corn sprouts, or popcorn sprouts, harvest in 7 to 10 days. Sorrel is 10 to 18 days, spinach 10 to 18 days, sunflower greens, something really good, 5 to 10 days. That's one of my favorites actually. The sunflower greens, the buckwheat greens, some of my favorite microgreens to grow personally. Turnips, that's a really fast one, an easy one, harvest in 5 to 10 days. And of course the wheatgrass, can be grown, and that's 5 to 10 days. But generally the wheatgrass is best if you're going to be juicing it, because it's pretty hard to eat as microgreens. They're kind of fibrous. All right, so the next thing I want to do is actually I want to show you guys a kit that I would recommend to you guys if you guys are looking to buy a microgreens kit that basically has everything you need. And this is the kit for if you never did it before, and if you really want to jump in and get right into growing microgreens, because you know how important it is for you and your family's health. So what I have here is a deluxe microgreens kit, and this is the kit probably as it will be sent to you in a plain brown box. There's no full color boxes on many of the things here because it's all over the internet and shipped to you guys. So once you get this, you guys could open this up, and basically there's a few things in here. Number one, you're going to get a growing guide. So this is actually really critical, right? Especially if you never grown microgreens before, you don't know how to do it. This goes over everything you need to know so that you guys can be successful the first time. I mean, basically they go over how long you soak it, how long it takes to germinate, how long you're going to harvest it, some notes, what it should look like, and help you out with growing microgreens. It also gives you step-by-step instructions, which I'm going to go over the ABCs, or the simple 1, 2, 3 of growing microgreens. And it is really simple. You should not be scared of growing microgreens. Actually, growing microgreens, think about it. It's easier than growing full-time crops or a summer garden in your garden, because in the summer garden, you got to sprout your seeds, you got to grow them into baby plants, you got to make sure they're healthy, you got to grow them into bigger plants, you got to give them the right fertilizer, so that they actually produce for you. You got to make sure the weather's right, you got to make sure you don't get pest outbreak, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll get some tomatoes, right? And that could take, 90 days or 40, 70 days to have some tomatoes, right? Unless you got some short season varieties. But with the microgreens, all you got to do is you just got to keep the plant healthy for about minimum 5 to 10 days. And then guess what? You harvest and you eat it. Super simple, super easy. So some of the other components in the kit, of course, is they got the growing medium. And in this kit, they actually have 2 different growing mediums. They have the soilless medium, which is the coconut coir based, which is the one I prefer. I find that the soilless mediums are much more forgiving than the hydro mediums that actually they have inside here, which are some pads, which I'll show you guys in a second. And you get 2 nice big bags of that. When you guys run out of this stuff, I don't necessarily recommend shipping coconut coir through the mail. It's not super economical to do that, but in a kit, just to get you started, I think it's great to know that you got some good coconut coir to start with. You could also use some kind of I try to encourage you guys to use sterile potting soil mixtures, to grow the microgreens, so you don't have any bacteria in there that could maybe mess something up. But seed starting mixtures works fairly good, or check a hydroponic store for a coconut coir based blend. Most of the mixtures they have at a hydro store will work great for the microgreens. So you get 2 nice big bags of that stuff. And then of course inside here, you're going to get a lot of other things, including a whole another chart here that talks about growing different kinds of the microgreens. So that's really good. And then of course you're going to get lots of seeds. This is probably the main benefit to buying this kit, is you're going to get, I don't know, at least a dozen different varieties of microgreen seeds that you guys could try and grow. Now here's the thing. Besides just these seeds being good for growing microgreens, you guys could use these same seeds to grow plants out in your garden for the following year. And actually what I would recommend to you guys that are really into this, right, is to save some of these seeds and don't grow microgreens into these and harvest them and eat them, but save some of these seeds to grow outside in your garden and let those plants, so in this case it's black oil sunflowers, let the sunflowers produce, let them have the beautiful sunflowers, and let them produce more seeds. And then say if you just grow I don't know, about 20 or 30 of these plants, you're gonna have lots of sunflower seeds that you guys could then sprout and germinate in the off season, in the winter season. And this way you could be more sustainable and produce your own microgreen seeds. Just make sure they don't get any bird droppings or any crazy things on there. So yeah, you're gonna get the black oil sunflower seeds, some of my favorite baby greens or microgreens to eat. You get a nice big package of the basil seeds, man. 4 ounces of basil seeds. Once again, you could use these seeds to grow basil out in your garden as well. You got the tot soy mustard seeds. I mean, these are nice 4-ounce packets. these are going to last you a little bit. And I really like that they're giving you all these varieties of seeds, because then you get to taste all the different kinds of seeds, and you're going to see which ones grow better for you, which ones maybe don't do so well, but more importantly, you're going to be able to taste the difference. What's that? ETD? That's TTD, TTD, I don't know, whatever. Taste the difference of the different sprouts and the microgreens, and find out which ones you like the most, so that you could just order those specific ones. You know, of course, I always encourage you guys to grow a variety and always try new and different varieties once you get, growing and, perfect growing these guys. Here we got the kohlrabi, the purple Vienna. So I really like some of these microgreens that actually have purple or red shoots instead of green. They are higher in antioxidants, and I encourage you guys to grow a good percentage of the darker microgreens. I mean, geez, there's so many seeds, I could be here all day explaining them. This is the basic salad mix for microgreen seeds here. We got another basic salad mix, and then, here's another one. The buckwheat seeds, or sprouting seeds. So I like the buckwheat greens. These are the ones that are the black in hull to grow into microgreens. I like to actually sprout the hull-less buckwheat, just a day or two, maybe take you 3 days depending on your climate, to grow little tails, and then I eat those sprouted. But the microgreens are also very good. Next we got the Golden Ace cabbage seeds. And yeah, so I mean, they got so many different kinds. Oh, and here's a good one. This is the Sango purple radish sprouting seeds. These guys are actually quite expensive. Radishes are one of the easiest things to sprout and to grow microgreens out of, and are very inexpensive in most cases. For example, most radish seeds that you can grow into microgreens are just $10 a pound. So by far, they're the cheapest microgreens you guys can grow, except these guys, because they're red when they come up instead of being green. There's a premium for these because it's supply and demand. There's a lot more demand than there's supply, so that these guys are quite expensive. They're $40 a pound for these special seeds here. Here's a spicy salad mix of seeds. I mean, geez, there's still more seeds. I'm still going. Here's a Detroit dark red beet seeds to grow into microgreens, or once again, you can plant these in your garden for next year. I mean, just the wealth of seeds you're going to get in this kit, it's amazing value. Cilantro slow bolt. So yeah, the cilantro microgreens, they taste incredible. Like if you love cilantro, you're going to love the microgreens. It even has more of an intense flavor, in my opinion. And let's see here. Oh, finally, last pack of seeds here. We got the dun peas. So the dun peas make the pea greens, which are another very nutritious and tasty microgreen to eat. All right, finally, we're done with the seeds. So let's see, next we got just a piece of paper that separates out the seeds from the different little grow mats here. So, there's different ways to grow the microgreens, right? You could use the hydroponic grow pad mediums. Some are made out of plastic. These maybe look like they're made out of a felt. They have ones that are kind of like a paper. They have ones made out of this fiber called canaf. They also have these ones made out of hemp. So many different options, but I think overall, I kind of like the coconut coir based growing mediums the best. I find that they're a little bit more forgiving, because they do hold some moisture. They'll let it out, whereas these pads, they seem to go dry, especially in a arid climate like I live, really quickly. Of course, the coconut coir also, in my opinion, is more sustainable, because once you're done growing the coconut coir, and you're only going to use one growing pad or coconut coir, per tray, and once you're done with the tray, then you basically you can reuse the coconut coir that you use for microgreens out in your garden. So save that stuff. It's really good. You could add it into your compost. But with these trays, or these the growing mats, generally they're disposable. So I think that kind of sucks, unless they're maybe one of the fiber ones that you could probably compost, but it might take a little bit of time to compost them. So that's why I like the coconut coir. So yeah, you get a bunch of those. Oh, and the other thing I want to say about the two different methods of the coconut coir or the hydroponic mats is that, I've had friends that are professional growers grow microgreens, and they did test it between the mats and the coconut coir, and they found a good coconut coir, grew the plants faster than the mats. That being said, there are some crops that may prefer to grow on the mats and actually not the coir, so I would encourage you guys to use both, because this kit comes with both. You could try both and see which one you prefer. You might like the mats better because it doesn't get all dirty and all this kind of stuff, and there's no you know, coconut coir going everywhere. You might like the core. I mean, I don't know, but I'm glad that in this deluxe kit, they give you both options so you guys can figure out what specifically you want to do. Aside from that in here, we got the trays. These are very critical to do the grow the microgreens, or the trays, and they give you a bunch of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trays. So that's impressive. And so this is how you're going to grow all the microgreens in these trays that actually have no holes, so they're not going to leak on the ground. You could put these on a nice, you know, stainless steel rack from Costco, or just on some kind of shelf. You know, for growing the microgreens the first couple days, you don't need any lighting on them. You know, I would encourage you guys to use some supplementary lighting, which you just get some standard, you know, full spectrum, you know, shop lights from your local, you know, hardware store. Or you could also maybe get some even more energy efficient, maybe not the total right spectrum, but they'll work because the plants aren't picky. Or get some LED shop lights from like your local warehouse club store, like Costco has them for a pretty good price, and they're gonna be more energy efficient. And they're gonna work for your microgreens. Microgreens aren't super picky, right? And they're only under light for a couple days anyways. So yeah, you get all the trays, and then the final thing you're gonna get is you're gonna get a spray bottle here. Very important, you know, to water your seeds appropriately. And you know, basically for the microgreens, you just need to mist them, right? You could mist them. Also, I like to lift up the mat if you're using a mat and spray underneath the mat, so the mat could absorb the nutrients and it could just kind of filter from the bottom up through capillation. And then the other thing you'll need, very critical, are the pH test strips. And it's very important. They got a little instruction thing in here on how to balance your water. It's very important to balance your water properly. It needs to be the proper pH. I think the microgreens like a more acidic water there. So yeah, they have full instructions on how to do that. And so here's the simple steps on how to grow microgreens, okay? Number one, you're gonna take a pad or take the coconut coir. You know, I'm gonna just use a pad today. You're gonna put that down, and you're gonna basically pH balance your water, use the test strips. You may need to add some vinegar to your water to make sure that it's the proper pH. And basically, I like to spray down the mat. Then you're gonna go ahead and take your seeds here. You can take the seeds, open the packet, and then I like to put the seeds in a cup and basically tap out the cup and get your seeds evenly distributed. And this is one of the things you're gonna have to learn about, is how densely to you know, seed your flat. And depending on the seed, it may be, you know, closer together, maybe a little more far apart. Then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna go ahead and you know, spray it down again. And then once you got it sprayed down, that's you know, all step number one. So simple, very easy. Then you're gonna just take another tray and put it on top. And then step number two is just every day you're gonna go ahead and open it up and you're gonna spray it down. Depending on where you live, you might have to spray it down once or twice a day. You want it to be a little bit moist. You don't want it to be sopping wet. You don't want to see like water in the bottom of the tray, but you want it, you know, moist enough so that the seeds could germinate. Basically what you're doing here with the lid on the top is you're simulating that the seed is now underground. It's getting the water it needs so that it actually could start to sprout and start to grow into a full-size plant. You know, once it starts to sprout and they start to get, you know, maybe yay big, a little bit big, then you're gonna go ahead and take the top off and continue to basically spray it down in water. And if you're growing with a mat, I do encourage you guys to lift the mat up and try to spray underneath the mat and soak it. Maybe soak a little bit of the ground. And I don't necessarily try to spray the plants down and keep that all wet, right? If you're watering too much, that may cause a mold issue, and you know, that's not too cool. You know, that being said, you know, in my opinion, the mold's harmless, and even if I had mold on the bottom of my tray, I would just clip it with the scissors and clip all the microgreens off the top and still eat them, no problem whatsoever. At this point, once you take the tray off, so now you know, the sprouts are, you know, could get the ambient room lighting, I would put this under lighting, and then you're just basically gonna spray this down and water it, you know, a couple times a day, 2-3 times a day, depending on where you live, under lighting. And then they're gonna get, you know, pretty tall. And you know, and then basically within 5 to 10 days, depending on the microgreen, some take more, you're gonna just basically come in with the scissors. So then I like to lift this tray up, come in with the scissors, and just cut off all the microgreens. You know, you want to eat as much of the stem as you can, but you don't want to, like, you know, eat dirt or eat the coconut core, you know, soilless growing medium below there. And I mean, that's how basically how easy it is to grow the microgreens. What I would recommend for you guys is once you guys start one tray like this, right? You start this tray today, you're gonna have a big shelf with all these trays down the line. The next day you're gonna start another tray, and then the next day you're gonna start another tray, right? And if you start one tray a day, depending on how many days the sprouts take to, or the microgreens take to grow, you're gonna have a whole tray ready to harvest that you can then harvest for a big salad, for you and your family. And even if you don't, harvest the microgreens the day they're about right size, right? They're gonna continue to grow, so don't harvest them till the next day. I would at least minimum recommend you harvest like a quarter of the tray at a time and eat that many. I mean, it's really easy to make a blended smoothie with the microgreens, with some coconut water, some microgreens, and some frozen banana. That'll make an amazing smoothie to get these greens in you. You could add these greens to sandwiches. I would add them to salads. I add them to fresh soups where I juice my peppers, for example, to make a pepper juice, and then I blend that up with some nuts and some seeds and some spices, and then make a pepper soup stock with that, and then I'll just basically add the microgreens in, just chopped up in there, and I'll eat those. Of course, salads, one of the best ways you guys could eat your microgreens. And I want to encourage you guys to chew your microgreens, very well. Because if you don't chew your microgreens very well and you don't masticate them, you're not going to get the nutrition out of them. And then all the time you spend growing them, in my opinion, is wasted. So yeah, that's pretty much today's episode. I really want to share with you guys about Mountain Valley Seeds. I'll put links down below to their website. So you guys could order this product as well as their other seeds. Also, for a limited time, for the next 30 days from the time this video comes out, you guys could get an additional 10% discount from Mountain Valley Seeds. To get this discount though, you're gonna have to give them a call. So I'll also put their phone number down below so you can go to the website, figure out what you want to order, and then call them with your order and tell them you saw them on Growing Your Greens. They'll give you guys a 10% discount off your entire order. So now this one kit here, I think with the discount and the free shipping, it's going to be under $100 for everything you guys need to grow your own microgreens to get up so that you can start producing, good quantities of microgreens on a regular basis to improve you and your family's health. I'll also put a link down below to another video I did on greens and growing microgreens in my garden that I did like last year, where I go more into detail on how to grow your own microgreens and actually, do the whole setup and show you guys how I water and how I do all that stuff. And so I'll put a link down to that video. Actually, I used, the kits from MV Seeds myself, and they work quite well, so I could definitely vouch for them. So if you want to get that 10% discount, once again, give them a call. Number is down below. Also visit their website. You can get their free catalog and check out all the amazing seeds that they're offering for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this episode, me visiting the Mountain Valley Seeds, hey, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. Let me know. I'll try to get back here next time I'm in Salt Lake City to visit this place. Definitely really cool. They got a lot of good seeds, a lot of good prices too, and I'm glad they make these kits available so that you guys could get up in production and start growing your own microgreens, because to buy the microgreens in the store that are pre-grown is actually quite expensive. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below to be notified of new and upcoming episodes. I'm coming out of it every 3 to 4 days. You never know where I'll show up or what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. I have over 1,200 episodes now, teaching you guys all aspects of gardening. So you can garden in the summer, the winter, the fall, any time of year, how you guys could grow some of the most nutritious foods on the entire planet for you and your family to enrich your guys' lives. So once again, my name is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. We'll see you next time. And until then, remember, keep on growing. All right, this is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and this one is a garden update. It's currently October, end of the season. As you guys can see, things are going crazy here.